The way that this works is probably something like this, where it's got a member there, member there. In fact, it is, and like a little triangulated member there, and then obviously this here. But let's ignore this for now. And it all probably sits on a pad foundation below it. What happens when a train comes through here, right? It pushes and displaces all this air out of its way. That air needs to go somewhere, so it acts as pressure on this roof there, this roof here, and also onto the far end of the roof as well. But by the time it gets to that far end, it's got all this time and space to have dissipated itself. So the pressure acting on the far end of the roof is a lot less than the bit acting here. And that means that it wants to try and blow out and blow over this way. Now, one way to deal with that is just to beef up this column so that it doesn't sway too much. So you've essentially got something like that happening, but you don't want all of that movement happening. So you would chunk that up as much as you can, and you stop it from moving around as soon as the train comes through. Now, what they've done here instead is use this post, of course. So imagine it's not a truss above. Imagine it's just a chunky little beam there, right? And then you've got force happening. Choo-choo comes along, force happens there, and it pushes that beam. So it wants to deflect something of that. But now although this wants to rotate again, you've got our little column there that wants to try and push that and stabilize that and push back at it. So this column now doesn't need to be as chunky as before. It can be a lot slender, and it looks really nice and all that. And all we've had to do is add that little column there. Now, instead of the beam, what they've gone with is something even more efficient, using that whole triangulated structure instead. So you've got this happening here. You've got a force applied at the end, and that still translates all the way down back into that column at the far end.